discussions on AM Talk, and I think we have to put things into perspective. 57 years of independence, what really have we achieved? What do we think we can achieve? And what really is the future for us as a country? We have in the studio to help us do the discussions some top politicians in Parliament. We have Kwabena Minta Kando. He's a member of Parliament for Graboso. Thanks for joining me, gentlemen. How are you? Again, a privilege to speak to you this morning. And Dr. Kwabena Chum Nyama is a member of Parliament for Brekum East. Brekum East is in the Bonafide region. How are you? You're a member of which of the parties? NPP. NPP, okay. So we're always balancing NDC and NPP. But I have to start off with you, the Graboso MP. Do you think as a country, all the things that we thought we could have achieved, we have? Where have been some of the lapses?
Yeah, let me begin by saying we have to wish ourselves a happy Independence Day celebration. Irrespective of the achievement, it's worth celebrating. And that I think that there's nothing like perfect in this world. There's always room for improvement. And for me, how I want us to look at this thing is about, let's take it in three phases. Where we're coming from, where we are at this point in time, and where we'll be going. And I wish that every Ghanaian would concentrate on where we are going, so that together we'll all we'll all be part of the success story of Ghana. You understand? I agree that we've not gotten to where we want to get to as far as the development of this country is concerned. But I should also say that we've not performed badly at all. I don't think it is the intention of any leader to say, look, vote for me, or let me be a leader of the country, and that I don't want to perform or I don't want to develop the country. I don't think so. Everybody as a leader has performed his or her part as far as the development of this country is concerned. But of course, as human beings as we are, Oliver Twist will always ask for more. If you look at where we're coming from, at a point in time we're under bondage. And one significant thing that is, paramount in development is the freedom. Freedom to speak, freedom to associate, freedom to do whatever you want. It's a significant achievement. And before I even continue, let us salute the late president, the founder of Ghana. The sad aspect is that the one who died for this country even couldn't get the opportunity to die in his own country. That's the saddest aspect of it all. But I think he did very, very, very well. And as Ghanaians, where we're coming from, at the point that we were in our own country, being ruled by people who don't belong to the land and all that. So that was a major, major, major achievement. On the premises, how we started very well, but along the line, a lot of turbulences. Okay, because you could even realize that the man who had a vision was even not allowed to continue to complete his term of office. Ghanaians even couldn't get opportunity to assess him, to say, look, continue or don't continue. You understand? That was a major, major blow to this country. And so I think that going forward, we all have to put our heads together, and then, the way forward is what is important.
Doc.
Yeah, I'll first of all join my colleague in wishing all Ghanaians a happy anniversary. I think no matter what, once we are alive to be part of the 57th anniversary, we have to thank God for that. But I guess you and I will agree that at Independence Day we had high hopes that we were going to really improve. And comparing ourselves with our contemporaries at that time, like the Malaysians and the South Koreans, the Singapores, I don't think we can be happy with where we are now. And the reasons are not far-fetched. At a point, it looked like the seat of government, we only changed the color of the persons who were there. Most of the policies which were inimical to the success of the Ghanaian were not changed that much. And I guess moving forward, even though we have moved a bit, forward, other countries are not waiting for us. So it's like our moving forward has not been that significant. So I guess we need to, be more aggressive with our development to ensure that Ghanaians can also compete with their colleagues in other countries. We're hoping that as we all begin to talk more and civil society becomes more aggressive, those who are put in charge of various aspects of the state will work better to ensure that Ghanaians get the best for it. I guess we don't have any other country apart from Ghana, and it will inure to our benefit that we all come together to ensure that we develop the country. But as it stands now, I don't think any Ghanaian will be happy with where we are. We still have a lot of the problems that we were talking about at independence, and I don't think we have gone very far.
Now, talking about what the development is, I guess now the idea, while not trying to go into history that much, is to build some level of political and economic or socio-economic consensus on what the development pattern should be, because that is what is going to carry us forward, perhaps in the next decade or two, and then build some level of development perspective for the country. Do you think that where we have reached now, what we have experienced since 1992, we could perhaps learn a certain lesson from there that we can carry forward?
Yes, I think after going through various phases in our democracy from 92, we've realized that, I mean, we all have more or less a common agenda. It's just the path that we all want to tread. I mean, yesterday I was at Banredis Memorial Lectures, and from the lectures we all realized that almost all the various agendas that we've had with the different parties in power, the vision has been the same. It's only the objectives and how to achieve the vision which have been different. So it's like we all have a common destiny, and we need to have a common ground where we will agree on a lot of issues, so that we all put a lot of our energies into the strategies as to how we can achieve those objectives to enable us attain the visions. Sometimes we get carried away a bit about some of the tangential issues instead of really looking at the main issues to help the country move forward. And I guess with a lot of bashing from the public, we need to really calm down and think positively to ensure that Ghanaians benefit. Whichever party is in power is the end that matters. We are all in there to help shape the destiny of the nation. So we must all work very well to ensure that Ghanaians benefit from our stewardship whenever we have the chance to lead the country.
The blueprints for laws and regulations in Ghana, of course, is a constitution. And since 1992, when we adopted it, started implementing it, we've even, over the last year or two, undertaken reforms which we hope to implement. That should be the foremost document for which we want to work with. Do you think that that will be the needed regulatory guiding principle for us always as a people?
Yeah, I think that any society without rules and regulations may not be well organized. And so it is important to have rules and regulations in every society. But I think as a country, we have enough regulations. We have enough acts, bills, and what have you. But our problem has to do with the implementation of those clauses in the Constitution, you understand. You see, many a times when we talk about development of the country, we concentrate on the leaders. The leaders, I agree to a large extent that the leaders will always have to lead the way so that the rest will follow. But you see, we overemphasize on our right, and forget about our responsibility as a nation, as people in the country. We deliberately refuse to ask ourselves what we can do for this country, and think that, look, once somebody has been voted there to do something, it is all about government. But we all form part of the government, irrespective of what any government at all will do. If we don't begin to change our attitude towards development of this country, we'll continue to be where we are. If you travel outside the country, okay, you go and see structures and what have you, which are not different from the ones we see in Accra here, but the environment are always different. Because if you go to US, you will see somebody throwing sachet outside and all that. So they are saving their currency, they are saving their money in that regard. But if you come to Ghana here, we will throw things around, we will deliberately even destroy. There's this saying that, look, the government doesn't belong to anybody. When somebody is working in government sector or in the civil service, you say that, look, this is not for my mother or this is not for my father, and he will do anything at all he wants. You understand? We will always be putting pressure for what is due us. Most especially talk about teachers who always be asking for salaries, because look, you cannot develop a country without education. And the backbone of the bedrock of education is the teachers. You talk about teachers, you will always be crying for them, increase their salaries and what have you. If it comes to posting, you say, look, if you don't post me to Accra or Kumasi, I won't go. Even once he has been posted, he will decide to sit home, he won't go and teach, and he'll be receiving salary. And we expect the country to develop.
So you're talking about people's attitudes.
You understand?
That can propel the development of the country, nation. And also make sure that perhaps the tenets of the Constitution are adequately obeyed.
Of course,
okay,
of course.
We do understand that.
Yes, so as for the Constitution, yes, and vis-a-vis this review and what have you, as society grows, the Constitution is supposed to grow with. Yesterday we had a very interesting scenario to discuss. We were contemplating as a situation. You see, we've had a situation where a certain president passed away and then the vice president had to take over. But we have also not thought about a situation where after the election of the certain president, or after the election of a president, before the swearing in, he passes away, who takes over? You understand? The vice president has not been sworn in then. So there's always room for it, but we have to think. So there's always the need for review of our constitution on all that.
Okay, yeah, I guess we're developing as a country. So as and when the development takes place, then we also develop and shape up alongside. More importantly, we would want to touch base with where we have various crews, and now we have a crew, a very big, large crew at the Independence Square here in Accra. Well, we're having the celebration nationally of Ghana's 57th independence anniversary. And I'm sure some of those pictures will be on your screen soon. As and when we have all those events going on, and our crew, our correspondents are there, they're talking to the various personalities, we'll give you some pips into some of the things that they're doing. So far, we know that a lot of the props are up and ready, and so when we have those live feeds coming and the event itself takes place, then we would want to give you some of those perspectives, and we have some of those live feeds on the TV, on your screens now, and so you get to watch them, you get to see the scenes as well, what is taking place, etc. Now every 6 months, look, we celebrate, we look at it, and we see that, well, we've fallen short of what we need to do in certain areas, etc. Currently, where do you think that as a country, as for continuous development, we need to focus on? Which key principal areas?
I think we need to be more aggressive in ensuring that people actually do what they are supposed to do. My colleague was talking about we spend most of our attention on leadership. I think sometimes we always think leadership is all about political leadership. But whichever organization that you find yourself, there's always a form of a leadership. And I believe that once you are the leader, you have to lead the organization. He was talking about teachers being posted to various locations and they refusing not to go. Somebody is supposed to ensure that when you are posted, you go and actually perform your duties. A teacher is supposed to perform and then he will demand his salary. It is the supervisor who is supposed to ensure that this person does what he is supposed to do. But you see, most of the time, people are given positions and they only enjoy the positions, but they don't actually do the work that is enjoined on them to do. And that is where we have some of our difficulties as a nation.
I get your argument very well, but for example, prior to the 2012 election, or during the election year in itself, the whole focus was on education, making sure that your flag bearer, for example, said it was critical that we added value to whatever raw product we had. That has come again to haunt us currently, and is the thrust of the argument currently. How do we make sure that we go on that very tangent? We don't veer off if a party comes into power and has another agenda and thinks of the next election, then we're swayed from what the general perspective should be.
Well, I think that has been one of our difficulties since we entered this fourth Republican democracy. But I believe that it all comes down to leadership. Once the leader really has his vision, he's supposed to drive the people along with it. And then it's in various stages. I mean, from the presidency, you come down to ministries, MDAs, everybody is supposed to have a vision which is feeding into the overall vision of the state. But most of the times, people actually do not really drive some of these visions, and then we always want to, put to a gallery. And so sometimes in election year, we want to rather concentrate on things which are visible, which may not be that, beneficial to the forward movement of the nation. So I believe that we need to be very disciplined and then ensure that we think about the future and not actually want to get some successes temporarily, which may not necessarily ensure that Ghana get proper footing and develop. That is how come we are having, we had a lot of industries, springing up from the First Republic. What happened and then all of them fizzled out? It's because people who were entrusted to really ensure that they develop these industries did not really perform, and then we ended up selling all of them, and now we are back to square one, more or less. We have a lot of private industries which have survived over the years. What is different from the private industry from the government? I think it's all because of the attitude and the way we go about our activities. We think we're trying to more or less please somebody and not really thinking about the nation. No matter what, once it is Ghanaian which is in charge, we need to really work hard and ensure that Ghana gets the best out of it.
Well, so we have to go to the studio, Kemini, and Kemini is ready to give us some more insight as to what really the correspondents have from the other correspondents in the various regions. And Kemini, I hear you'll be speaking to our correspondent in Tamale, and over to you, Kemini.